Buddy, what are your sort of projections for solar energy growth in 2025? Are there any particular regions in the U.S. maybe that are expected to see significant growth?
Yeah, John. I mean, I think, the regions where we have a high cost of power and a climbing cost of power obviously lend to the more, you know, they're going to be more apt to choose solar as an alternative, where we can kind of give you a more stable, energy price. And that happens to be right here in New England. We've got a really high demand for power, and they don't make new power plants in Massachusetts anymore, right? So solar is obviously going to be a big part of the energy economy up here for a long time, but particularly so in 2025, I think is no exception.
Yeah, I think we've been seeing historically, since solar's been getting more and more traction, we've seen double digit kind of year over year growth, and that excuse me, flattened or even went down this past year. And I think a lot of folks have been saying they expect to see kind of back to a double digit given over a down year, but we certainly hope that holds true, and that there's a rebound and continued growth in the industry and the adoption of solar, because like Buddy said, especially here in the Northeast, you have the highest rate structure and rises in the country. Um, and so that solar is makes a ton of sense for folks to be able to fix and fix their costs and save as well. So um, we would expect the Northeast, but and then California had a big policy change with their net metering. I guess now going on almost a couple years ago, but they have of course adopted and reacted with and, adding storage to leverage that program, and have had been able to start to bounce back, because I think California is like the fifth largest economy in the world, obviously the largest in the United States. So anything that's going on there is gonna affect the rest of us, economy wise, but specifically in our industry, as they're a progressive state as well. So that's a good sign, I would say, that they've sorted out a way to kind of come back and sort out their new program. Um, so we hope for continued growth, and I think driving technology and advancements in our industry would also help to leverage that.
Yeah. So on that vein, are there any technology advancements or innovations that we might be able to expect in 2025, and how would that impact the industry, and maybe see improvements in terms of cost and efficiency of solar panels, et cetera?
Yeah, sure. John, I think what we're starting to see from my seat is more kind of cross trade collaborations. Even we're seeing some of the HVAC guys get into the electrification through the mini splits. And they're getting into the solar aspect a little bit. We're seeing our solar companies start getting into the HVAC side a little bit. Storage is obviously a big part that everyone's kind of getting into. So I'm seeing really, kind of more collaboration, and as solar companies who are doing a ton of the in-home selling are able to kind of adopt, the full electrification kind of bill of material, for lack of a better term. I think we're going to start seeing the overall cost for electrification start to go down. For homeowners, and the investment overall to start making more sense. The more of these products you can kind of combo together. But as far as individual advancements or innovations, I do think the battery technologies are still kind of evolving, and a lot of our battery manufacturer partners are on their second, third, fourth generation of their battery product, and so we're seeing the scale of manufacturing driving costs down, the competition from multiple manufacturers start to drive that down, and we're seeing new chemistries kind of emerge on that side. So, yeah, I think that's all signs to say that the battery stuff Brian mentioned in California is certainly going to be everywhere at some point. It's just kind of a matter of when. Solar power is generated during the daytime, And power consumption often happens when the sun's down, right? So we have to figure out how to generate and then use. And so the deployment of that, whether it's residential batteries or large, multi megawatt hour battery sites, is to be determined. We're just sort of at the cutting edge of that now, and we're doing it in coordination with local utilities, local policy groups, and of course with a lot of federal incentives right now in all aspects of electrification that we get to enjoy. That's part of being at the forefront right now. So we're figuring it out.
Do you think that the automotive industry, going more into electric vehicles and things like that, has actually helped in terms of doing a lot of research and development on battery technology and, like you said, new chemistries and things like that that are actually then kind of coming over into the solar industry?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's lithium batteries are in pretty much every device we use today. Whether it's your laptop or anything, right? So it's yeah, the electrification of the automotive industry is certainly part of that as well. Every automobile that's electrified has an inverter. Same thing we use in solar, right? So all these technologies kind of get repeated, and whatever the difference I think with vehicles or batteries. Again, I'm not a engineer by any stretch, but um, the weight of the battery is important. So we want a lightweight, carry a charge for a long time. Can withstand obviously the elements. Those are all the important kind of engineering factors to consider. Whereas when you're doing a standalone storage, maybe it can be a little bit heavier because we don't have to worry about the fuel economy of performance or the range performance as much as what might be more important, which is like, well, how much storage kilowatt hours can we fit in a in a small box that can fit in somebody's garage, or you know um, in their basement or something, right? So that's what's the limiting factor in residential stationary storage is where can we deploy it, and then how much on-site load do we have to serve? Do we have enough output? And that's more of an inverter question than it is a storage question. But
That goes back to a lot of that the chemistry, like you were talking about, that they continue to evolve. Like I see every day on different industry forums and articles about this combination, that combination, and a new combination, and solid state, and trying all different ways to push the envelope towards that efficiency, size, range, and power as well. Like Buddy was talking about, the combination with an inverter, of what kind of power you're going to get out of it. I even like my car that's an